It's not every day that you're sitting with the Pope's brother, John, and his pastor at his parish, Father Ray. Thank you for taking the time.
You're welcome.
We've had about 1 year now of Pope Leo XIV, your brother. What's this past year been like?
Gosh, let's see, there's a question. Something totally unexpected, or something you have to take day by day, because you never know, in a sense, what each day is going to bring. Sometimes it's always interesting, but it's sometimes sad. It's sometimes you feel powerless of what people are looking for, and they expect me to be able to help, and I can't necessarily do anything for them except listen.
How has your life changed?
In a sense, things are still pretty much the same, but things do happen where there is a difference. I used to be able to leave the front door open. Now I'm hesitant because who's going to come to the door?
Got to keep it closed.
Yes.
What's it like having the Pope's brother as a parishioner? What has parish life been like?
People are intrigued. They're fascinated. They're curious, and I think they try to respect his space. He sits back there, and I think people just, can we talk to him? Can we meet him? Can you introduce him? So quietly, I do, to people, and he's very gracious about that. And
So a lot of people come up to you, I'm assuming, and ask you questions, prayer requests,
Right.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Does that become exhausting at some point? Like,
Right.
How do you manage that?
I walk away.
You just walk.
I have to walk away. They've been very good here in church. They don't really bother me in church. But at social activities, then I do get it.
I've heard you talk about how after 8th grade, you didn't really see your brother a whole lot because he went to
Right.
high school seminary. But I want to talk about those years up to 8th grade. What were those years like growing up in your family?
Probably like anyone else's. It was a mom and dad, 3 kids, 3 boys. What did that do in the house? It was regular. Go to school, come home, do your homework, go out and play, come in, do your studying, go to bed, and then just repeat that. We were all altar servers. For some reason, our mother insisted that we do Friday at 6:30 in the morning and serve that, which we weren't necessarily all that happy with.
It's an early
You do what your
wake
mother.
up.
Yes, you do what your mother tells you. We were choir. Rob was in Cub Scouts. We were all altar servers, and I think I think we were all in the choir, and we all went to St. Mary's School. We all went to Catholic education all the way through high school. So I think it was normal. We were out playing. You play outside until dusk. It was a quieter time, so we could go where we went. No one was worried about, we're going to get kidnapped or something. If they knew what they know now, maybe that would have been different.
Anything stand out? Any memories?
Well, one time we were building a shed in the backyard, and Rob fell through the roof.
Really?
Yes.
Not great with
No, it was
tools, or-
just part of the wood was rotted.
Okay.
And because we were using old doors from the house for the roof. And
Fell through the roof.
it just does stuff like that. And then when he was in 2nd grade, I was in 3rd grade, and our other Marty was in 5th. This is a local show, so probably don't know about it. We were on Bozo's Circus.
Really?
Yes.
You were, wait a minute. Rewind that. What? Bozo Circus?
It was a kids program produced by the Chicago local channel, WGN. And it was an everyday show, and tickets were hard to get, but one of the guys who was in the WGN band taught music to the kids at my dad's school. He was superintendent of schools, was a teacher there. So he said, if you kids ever want to go to Bozo Circus, well, we jumped at the chance because you're on
all
TV.
3 brothers.
We didn't lose any school time because it was during a holiday. But there's something no one knows. You have the scoop.
We got to find that footage.
It's there. It's there. So you could figure it out. If I was in 3rd grade, that would be 1960.
Was there any interaction? Like, were you just participants in the crowd, or were you?
We were just in the crowd, and then in the grand march at the end where they line everyone up walking out. So then you would see him in that, absolutely.
I'm curious. You were pretty close to your parish growing up. Did you walk to the church? How did you get there? I mean, it wasn't too far.
We got to church or to school.
church or school, either
We got a ride to school. We walked home in the afternoon. Because yeah, it wasn't a long ride, but there's 2 railroad tracks, and once you got stuck by those, you might be there 45 minutes.
That's still happening today, it seems. Dalton.
Yes,
Trains
absolutely
coming through
does.
every corner.
And then people got in trouble because when the gates were down and the trains were blocking the railroad, some people, we won't mention names, climbed the railroad cars to avoid being stopped by the train. And then that was the day when moms knew what other kids were doing, and moms called moms, and people found out. So that didn't happen too much.
Was that a young Rob doing that?
I won't say.
No comment.
Can't say. Tell us about life in the parish and in the school. What was that community like?
School community?
Yeah.
I think it was very close. It was very large because in those days, Catholic schools were very strong. We did have 3 grades of every level. Until we got to 8th grade, it was 2 rooms, and it was 50 kids in the classroom. Try putting 50 kids in the classroom today, you know. And so, and it was mainly staffed with nuns, and I don't think you'll find that today so much either.
Tell us a little bit about where did you learn your faith from? Where did that come
I
from?
think it starts in the home. And then it just gradually would grow and develop. But I think it starts in the home.
What did that look like, the faith being handed down from your parents?
I know periodically our dad would take the Bible out and read Bible stories. We always prayed before dinner. Our parents always, every evening after dinner, prayed the rosary.
Was it a normal part of life, going to Mass, going to school? Like the faith was just very much a part of your
Yeah, I
upbringing?
think so, because in those days when you went to Catholic school, you you went to Mass every day. And then eventually it became once a week. But yeah, because then you'd have to, it was a 3-hour, you couldn't eat, 3 hours before you went to communion. So we had to bring our little breakfast and eat it in the classroom, which was always a fun thing to do too.
I'm sure you get so many questions about your brother, the Pope, but let's talk a little about you and your faith. You were in Catholic schools as a teacher, as a principal. I'm guessing your faith formed you and inspired you to take on that sort of profession and role?
It did. I think somewhere in the back of my mind, it absolutely had to be to see the strength in a Catholic school, the importance of Catholic school education. And I wasn't so concerned about making the big bucks, so I was able to afford to work in a Catholic school. And I just saw the value in it, having gone through it and having student taught in a public school. I saw kind of the difference, and so I always aimed into a Catholic school.
Talk about that. Talk about the value of Catholic education. Is it an important thing for not only the church, but society?
I think so. I think that's where values are started, and I worry sometimes that Catholic schools, unfortunately, are becoming too expensive for the average person to afford, and if it's only going to become something for the wealthy people, I hope not. But I see the importance of setting values and of setting modes of standard of behavior that the Catholic school can do, I think somewhat in a different way than regular public school education can do.
In what ways? What are those values that you're
Well,
learning
we
in
can teach
Catholic school?
religion. We can pray. And I think that starts the top. We could pray in the Catholic school. We can somehow bring religion into a math class. Not to say that there's 6 angels here, 2 go away, how many angels are left? But the whole atmosphere and the whole philosophy in the Catholic school is that's the prime reason we are here, to instill and indoctrinate and teach the Catholic faith to the students.
What does your faith look like now? You're a parishioner here at St. Jude's. Tell us a little bit about your own spirituality.
Now that's a hard one. What can I tell you
Maybe
about?
Father, you could
Yeah,
weigh in
you
too.
could weigh
Well,
in.
lean into the Augustinian core values.
There you go.
Truth, unity, and love.
There you go. That
Is
says
he a
it
good
all.
parishioner?
He is a good parishioner. Yeah, he's been very helpful to me as a pastor here for the last 3 years. I lean on his experience as a principal. I had to hire a new principal in my, I think, 2nd year, and I leaned into his experience, and he's really been helpful in that way and in many other ways. But clearly, Augustinian values are just a very natural component of our life here at St. Jude, any Augustinian parish.
Does the Augustinian spirituality resonate with you? Like when
It had to have, because high school was an Augustinian high school for me, Mendel. So I think somehow Augustinians have been in our lives since we were, 13?
why do you think your brother was particularly attracted to
I've been asked that. I don't know, because I do remember when he was in 8th grade, various orders would come over to talk. I don't know what hit him with the Augustinian order, but there were quite a few that did come, and somehow the Augustinians did hit. I mean, he went on retreats to some places. Augustinian hit.
Describe your relationship with your brother, the Pope, now. What does it look like? Does it look the same as it did before he became Pope?
I think so.
Yeah?
I mean, people, you'll hear them say, well, who says no to the Pope? I do.
You're not afraid to say
No.
no. You probably always have, right?
Correct. So I think that's the same. I think it's more long distance now. And it used to be where he would come here. Now, if we're going to see him, we have to go there. So that's probably the biggest change.
But every day you're communicating with him.
Right.
What are those conversations? What do they look like? What do you talk about?
I'm kind of careful because I don't want to necessarily go into church issues that are
Sure.
kept quiet. But one of the first questions I ask is, did you meet anyone famous today? And then, like on Wednesdays, he's got that general audience with the crowds. Yesterday, he said there was like 20,000. I always ask, did you get any gifts?
I'm actually curious. I don't know if you know about this. What happens with all those gifts? The Pope gets a lot of gifts.
He gets a lot
Where
of
do
gifts.
they go?
The security takes them, and this is, I don't know.
They go to the gift room?
They do. That's absolutely correct. And I don't
The
want
candies go to his room.
that some of them, he doesn't get all of them. But yeah,
Does he have a sweet tooth? Is that
yes, I think so.
Peeps?
Yep. But see, he's got 2 closets full of them now, so people can stop sending Peeps.
Jelly beans.
Stop sending Peeps,
Yeah.
please. And you play Words with Friends and Wordle. Who's better at the games?
It's a trade-off. He beats me in Wordle. I usually beat him in Words with Friends.
And we heard in Wordle, he said he has a new word each time he plays. What's your strategy?
I use the same word every time.
What is it?
Adieu. A-D-I-E-U, because it uses the vowels.
Get all the vowels.
Except the O.
On a serious note, Pope Leo, your brother, has a lot of responsibility now. His flock is the world, and there are many people suffering in different areas of the world. How do you think he takes on this sort of responsibility and care for so many different groups of people suffering in different ways?
One of the ways is if you listen carefully to the things he says, he talks about important issues and the way we should take on some of these issues. I think if you also look, he hasn't taken a lot, but if you look at the places he goes, he's going to some of these places that are having difficulty. Isn't it next month he's going to Africa? So I think that's how he's doing it, trying to hit the places that feel kind of lost or ignored. So I think he's doing it that way.
Do you think his heart is kind of with any particular groups of people? I mean, there's so many different groups, so many different needs.
Disenfranchised, ignored. I think that would be how he looks at it.
He always wanted to be a priest, is that correct?
Yes,
From a young age, that was...
we always knew that he had
And
wanted
where do you
that.
think he was inspired? How was he inspired to follow that path?
I don't know.
Was
I
it a
couldn't tell
particular
you.
priest or anybody at the parish, do you think, that something he
It
saw?
could have
or-
been, but I can't look into his mind and say that's what did it. But it was at such a young age, I don't know that anyone in particular would have had that strong of an influence on him. Maybe it did. But our dad was in Holy Name Society, which is the organization at that time for men, and our mom was in Altar and Rosary, and for quite a few years she was president of the Altar and Rosary, and so therefore she would have them priests over for dinner or the nuns over for dinner, and so he may have been struck by some of those conversations with some of the priests and pastors that were over for dinner at the time.
You or your brother ever consider priesthood? Your older brother, Louis?
No, he kind of knew he was going to go into the Navy, and I was just sort of a rolling stone.
Yeah. Did you always know you were going to be a teacher, or did you have
did.
other...
That was kind of, yeah. I think I've told this story before. When he was maybe first grade or second grade, one of the moms across the street did say to us when we were out there playing, he's going to be the first American Pope.
We've heard a lot about his gifts and talents and would make him well suited for this role, but you know him in a particularly unique way as his brother. What are some of those other things that you know about him intimately that would make him great to be this leader of our church here?
Well, to keep it in the area of faith, he has the patience of a saint. I wouldn't. It's not funny.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
I don't. I mean, he does. If you ask me a question, which you are doing, I come out and give you an answer. He would take a lot of time to think about it before he responded, and therefore it's a whole lot more deeper in perspective than mine off the top of my head.
Speaking to priests that knew him, they say they'll email him and he'll respond pretty quickly. I would think that, you know, I'm the Pope, I have so many things and so many responsibilities, I don't have time for maybe friends or family back home. It seems like he does.
It doesn't surprise me. Oftentimes, I don't know where he was, but he said to me, I don't have time, I have 63 emails waiting. So oftentimes, while we're playing Words with Friends, while it's my turn looking for a word, he's answering these emails.
Wow.
So he doesn't waste time. And then he doesn't go to bed right away. He sometimes will catch up on stuff like that to get it done. But he does do his best to answer everything.
What would your advice be to somebody who maybe grew up Catholic but has left the faith for whatever reason? Should they reconsider?
I think they are. I've had people come to the door and tell me. I don't know who they are, but they say, I wanted to let you know because of your brother, I'm coming back. A cousin just said that to me this week because of Rob, they're coming back. So I think that's happening just because. I think you're seeing that across the country. Because of him, people are coming back to church.
That's happening. I was going to ask about that, the impact on faith in this country. You think it will be significant now that we have the first
I think
American
so.
Pope?
I commented just this week on how the 5 o'clock Mass is packed. Why all of a sudden?
Has Catholicism changed since you were a kid growing up? Has the church changed?
Well, Latin in the first place. You know, everything was Latin. You didn't know what we were doing. And so now we know what's going on. That is the first place. So yeah, that it has changed. I think anything that's going to last these years, this thousands of years, is going to have to change somewhat. The basic faith itself, I think, is probably the same, but how we respond to it or live it, how we live I think that changes.
What do you think some challenges now that it's just a little different?
Priests, lack of priests, but although that seems to be growing too.
Yeah, we call it the Leo effect.
You're seeing that.
We are, as particularly for the Augustinians. Father Tom, the vocation director, and Father Jack, who's the other vocation director, they bring in the metrics for all of the social media that we've received since Pope was elected last May, and just an increase in all social media platforms. Particularly, again, they're looking for some sort of link to Augustine. And then Pope Leo, from the very first day he was announced, he said, I'm a son of Augustine. And I think almost at every opportunity he has, he talks about something related to either Augustine or Augustinian spirituality. So we do see it in parishes. I've received several phone calls. People say, because of his election, because of who he is, we feel called to come back to the church. So I think he's American, he's the Pope, he's Augustinian, all those things, I think.
John, Father Ray, thank you so much for taking the time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.